Yo, what's good? It's your boy TA, man. And welcome to another episode of Out the Mud Podcast. Today you will be getting blessed with a 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA Most Improved Player, Jermaine O'Neal. One of the best bigs that ever played, put on a uniform as a Pacer. But you already know. But before we get into all that, let's head over to Prize Pick, download the app, and use the promo code MUD.
Whoa, I got it out the mud. Put me last, gon' feel me first. Did me back, gon' do you worse. Same old sides gon' get you hurt. I spit facts in all my verses. Still might pull up and eat at church. I go up and down with racks and that's a fact. Feel like they curse.
Bet I go out like a thug. Bet I put some in the dirt. Yes, I came up from the mud. This a $1,000 shirt. Break the bitch, make her work straight to my hand from out of purse. Hey, I come from the mud. They finally found that diamond in the dirt. Ice.
Hey, kid, I gotta make it, kid. This Out the Mud, man.
Yo, it's Out the Mud. Today I'm here with my man, Mac Bo. Mac Bo, how you feeling today, bro?
Good, man. Got an honor and a treat today, man.
Yes, indeed, man. 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. One of the best shot blockers that I know I've seen at the rim. My boy, J.O. What's good, family?
What's up, fellas, man? It's good to be here.
For sure.
Excited about this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, this Out the Mud, man. You know, we always ask, man, everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
And we always just want to just kick it off, like, tell us what it's about growing up in Columbia, South Carolina.
Man, it was growing up in Columbia, man, was a little bit different, man. One of the things for me wasn't necessarily as much about the city because the hood really did their job with me. I was trying to find my way because I never really felt whole as a young man because I didn't even meet my dad till I was 30 years old. I was 13 years into the NBA.
Word.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where I was trying to find acceptance across the board. And, when you're trying to find acceptance, you deal with that one every day. Right?
Yeah,
and so for me,
a lot of routes you could take. You
100%.
really should be around.
That's crazy.
100%. So we had a lot of dope people that was really looking out for me and helping me make right decisions and help me right the wrong decisions that I was making. And I was fortunate enough to run into my high school coach who really, I think he might know what you in New York.
Come on, man. Coach Glim.
Yeah, Coach Glim. Yeah.
Man, rest in peace, my man.
Yeah, rest in peace, for sure. But he was the one that really kind of helped ride the ship and settle the ship for me, right? My mom did a hell of a job, but how much can a mother do on their own, right, for a boy?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, she was able to kind of set a standard for me. But Coach Glenn was the one that really polished everything up for me.
Coach Glenn, at that time, you was a guard then, because at that time I was assuming you wasn't a big fella. Yeah, you didn't get that growth spurt until like what age?
It was my sophomore year. Man, that's crazy. I went from 6'2" to 6'11" in 3 months.
Damn.
Yeah. Crazy. Running around there like Forrest Gump with the braces, had to be braced. But it was like the best thing for me because the things that I learned from a football perspective and from a guard perspective, I was able to utilize that as a big, right? Try to use quickness, try to use both hands. The crazy story with my left hand, because everybody thought I was left-handed, right? In the league. I always
go left too.
Man, at the crib, when you falling behind and works, I broke my right hand. And so my mom was like, yo, you gonna figure out how to write with your left. So I write with both hands, and not too many people knew about it. For whatever crazy reason, we get in the games, and they would not take off my left hand. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go left. so that's how things really got cooking for me from that perspective. But man, it was rough, growing up when you don't feel appreciated. And as we get into this process and things that it kind of carried over to this very moment, bro, that you struggle with. And, I've used different things to kind of help me with that process, fighting some demons, on a day-to-day basis when it comes to that, appreciation and acceptance. But like I said, my high school coach was pretty amazing when it came to making sure that I stayed focused, understood what the opportunity was at hand, and the discipline side of things.
Yeah, at that time, you going to all of these camps. Can you talk to us about your class at that time? Because you got a Hall of Flame class you played a part of. So I just would like to know what was some of those summer camps like, and just your inspiration those summers going into them.
But so back then it was like either you was at the Adidas, or you was at the it was 5-star, it was
5-star.
Nike.
Yeah.
Right. So we didn't have all these, 7, 8, 9 different things.
Yeah.
So I remember like always like hearing about Tim Thomas.
Tim Thomas.
Yeah. And wasn't no social media back then. So it's like a myth. You reading about it, you see him in the magazines.
The rankings.
And I remember, man, it was crazy. It was Tim might have been the best high school player that I've ever seen.
Yeah. I hear he was a grown man down there in high school.
Man,
crazy. I'm talking about.
I just told you, I was with Tim out in Hampton at AI's event. Bro, when I tell you Tim, man, he set the bar. Like he was 6'10", 6'11", inside, outside, handle, crazy bounce, strong. He was about 220 in high school. And he set the bar, man. And I remember going to the camp, the Adidas All-American camp, and I was like, okay, I got to get my game together. He was the one that set the bar for me to say, okay, I got to get back in the lab and make sure, I get better.
Word. Damn, man. That's it's so crazy, bro. Me and you got the same story. You say you met your dad when you was 30, because I come from a single parent home. I met my dad at 32. You know what I mean? Like, and that's crazy that you say that. Like who was like the structure in your family? Like tell me about your big brother, because I know your big brother, he played a part too. And you know what I mean?
You know what's crazy, man? Like, so my brother, my dad was there when he was, my brother's 2 years older than me. So he was there when my brother was born for 2 years. And then when my mother was pregnant with me, he dipped. But crazy story, like, my last name is made up. Like true story.
What? O'Neal?
It's made up.
Damn,
Not even his name, right? So what happened was, I'm one of 33 kids. One of 33 kids. True story. I met 17 of them when he died. So I met him at 30, died 13 months later. So I spent my whole life without really knowing him. But my brother used to always tell me these stories, man. And my father went to jail for murder, right? Got out, didn't even, every year over year now, I'm finding out more and more things about him because I was so upset about like the nigga not really like choosing me, right? Why not me? You chose my brother. I hear the stories about all the toys, all this and all that. And then it just come to me and, my mother was in a mode where she wasn't really trying to get too deep into it. She was upset about things and, there's a volatile relationship. So my thing was, I almost took it out on my mother, right? My mother she was the force behind everything, man. Like you get your ass beat up in the streets, you're gonna go home and get your ass beat at home, right?
Exactly.
It was a standard, right? She wanted to set a standard because we ain't had nothing else but the standard to live off of, right? So it was one of those things where my mother became just a rock for me, man. And she taught me a lot. She taught me to value everything, bruh. I remember she always saying, look, if you mistreat $1 of my money, I'm whooping your ass. And I always remember that. That's the standard that, that I live on, even with my kids. Like, look, we not about to, waste no money on you not giving everything you got. And so I would say that my mother's for sure the one that really set the tone for me, man, when it came to aggression and, standard and consistency.
Yeah, you had the opportunity to win multiple championships as a youngin.
Yeah.
What was the driving force in going to get that for the city?
Bro, it was, I'll be honest, man, like my high school was, they was dope and they had players before I got there.
Oh,
right?
yeah?
They were already winning. They hadn't had any NBA players. They had a ton of Division I players from brothers. Florida State had a guy named Thaddeus Delaney who went to college at Charleston. He kind of misplayed his hand a little bit from an agency standpoint and didn't go work out for teams, had an amazing run. All he had to do was get the right agent, go work out for teams. He drafted, right? He don't work out for no teams. He go undrafted, right? Which I'm not even sure why he did that, but it was already a standard of 6'9", 6'10" players at the school, right? They had already won, championships. We were just the first ones to win, 3 in a row,
right?
And so you getting on the train that's already moving, and you trying to figure out how you can make it better, right? And so I would tell you, I didn't really even get going until really my junior year.
Word.
Yeah. Like
I would have thought, I ain't gonna lie, as you was coming out, I thought you was already like him.
Nah, hell nah. But I got some tape to show y'all boys. Like, boy, it was
It was
I
a
used to
work in
shoot with
progress.
2 hands. But it was crazy, man, because again, the environment, man, like, but that's back then when we played outside.
I play
We
on the
went to the
court.
park.
That's what I tell them all the time, bro.
It was dogs at the park, at the
OGs.
gyms.
They give
Right,
you
the OGs.
validation, really.
Yeah, that's where you got your
100%.
validation from. the
100%.
park.
And you gotta your ass over there on this little court over here. You gotta work your way over to the big main court, right? And that's a process. And people don't realize how important that is, bro.
That
When
was
you're trying to
big.
fight to get to the big court, and you take those same tendencies and and go to your high school or whatever that you're doing, and you try to run through people.
I tell my kids all the time, I didn't have the luxury of playing on the inside courts. How they got it down. I had to
Trainers and
play.
all type of shit.
I was at the 24th, 26th Street Park, Valley Avenue. I'm in the hood
Right.
playing. Ain't no court. We had to play on
Right.
concrete.
In the dirt, concrete,
yeah, whatever.
wood backboard,
Man,
like
alley.
Now these
we gonna
kids
play
don't play in
anywhere.
anything that ain't got air conditioning.
Straight up.
When did you realize, okay, I'm pretty sure, like you say, you played outside, so I'm pretty sure it was cats in the neighborhood steering you into the right direction. Like, bro, you
Right.
going to the league. Like, did you start hearing the league noise early, or was
Nah.
it shortly after the growth sport?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, man. Like when I heard it I remember sitting on the couch with my brother. Man, we was watching Ticket. Shout out to Ticket.
Yeah, big shout out to
shout out
Ticket,
to
the
Tick,
big fella.
man.
That's my
Man,
OG.
Ticket, people think Ticket from Chicago. Ticket from South
Yeah,
Carolina.
from South
Carolina.
Yeah.
So I always tell people he's from South Carolina, bro. Like, so I knew of
Lord.
him. He went to school. He was all world, but his teammates wasn't that good. So he would never get to the state side of things. So we never saw him in the state side.
You gotta win, goddamn.
You gotta win to get, but especially back then, it wasn't all this traveling, all this other stuff. You gotta win to get there. But we knew what he was, right? And so I remember sitting there. There was a lot of conversation about, Ticket going lottery, and so everybody kind of sitting back watching. So we watching the draft, and my brother was like, "Man, this is crazy. A high school kid going pro." And I said, "Man, I'm gonna do that next year." Like on some straight, just saying that shit. I had no idea how it was gonna happen. I spoke it
Manifestation
into
is real.
existence. I said, "I'm gonna do that next year." And next thing you
Word.
know, they had the first NBPA Top 100 camp. So I was the first group that went to that. And so next thing you know, they started showing up to the high schools. And it was like a real thing, right? So the scouts there, and I'm like, okay, cool. So they every time they meet with my high school coach, he asking them, what does he need to do? Now my high school coach didn't want me to go pro at all. And I told my coach, I said, Coach, man, look, I get it. I said, am I physically ready to go? Probably not. I said, but I can guarantee you, I'm gonna work my ass off to make sure I get to where I need to be. I said, but Coach, right now, I had just went to jail. See, crazy thing is, my senior year, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but it's a correlation to where I sit today. A lot of people don't know every state has a legal age for consensual sex.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. Right, so I always tell young men and parents, look, you got to be careful, because this girl's my girlfriend at the time. Cheerleader, been with her for 2 years, met everybody but her dad. Right, I'm at the crib. I don't bullshit and lied to my coach saying I had to go home and do something. I'm sneaking over to her crib.
Yeah.
He comes home, don't catch us doing nothing, but he asked her a question. He said, have you guys been sexually active? And she said, yeah. Right, but by state law, it doesn't matter if she say it's consensual and she wanted to do it because she's under the age of 17.
Mm-hmm.
I was 17, she was 16. I was now facing 10 years.
From 17 to 16?
17
bruh.
and 16.
10 years, bruh. And back
Damn, so dad tripped out.
tripped out, bruh. And
Damn.
that man disappeared because the city was looking for him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You trying to hinder my career. Like, you trying to over something that's understood.
But he had no idea of the magnitude of that, though. Right? He couldn't have possibly, in every aspect, with people looking for, like, the career that I'm trying to build, the support of the city that they had for me. He had no idea. And being from South Carolina, bro, that's the first slave state.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And so people don't,
I didn't
people
know
don't
that.
Yeah.
First slave state. Right? And so, they had the big Confederate flag on the state house forever. Up until, the white kid went in there and shot up the church.
Yeah.
About maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Big ass Confederate flag that's been there for decades. So it kind of broke everything down to where it gave me a fond respect about decision making, perception, and you'll see that this has consistently happened throughout my career. Right, that's something I think I've been better equipped to deal with it. But that was one of those things where, bro, like I almost didn't want to think about the pros, but it forced me to. It was expediting my process, right? I come off, you got people across town that didn't look like me was saying he's a criminal, he shouldn't play no more, shouldn't be allowed to play.
Big media scrutiny at an early age.
At an early age.
And that shit hit the media down there. Shit was exploding everywhere, huh?
Boycotting me, right? I shouldn't play. He's a criminal. He's a rapist. Due process. What happened to due process, right? So I go to court. I get a bunch of hours on community service. At the time, University of South Carolina runs that. Well, it still runs it now. And that was one of the schools that I was looking to go to. And at the time, the judge was like, hey, what school are you going to? In the court case.
Damn.
It's a true story. and I don't know what in the world had me say, man, it's a 98% chance I'm going to go to University of South Carolina. Again, I'm facing a mandatory 10-year sentence, right? That's by state law.
Yeah.
Right, which is crazy. So she ended up giving me like 100 hours of community service. Couldn't talk to her. But then I get reinstated, and the first game back, got Rick Pitino, you got Gary Williamson, Maryland, you got everybody in there.
Top-notch schools as well for
NBA scouts. I'm hyped, ready to go. Hyperextend my knee.
Man.
The very first game back. So Rick Pitino was my man. Dope. Like shout out to Rick Pitino, man.
Yeah,
like he came
to Rick Pitino.
He recruited me himself. Sometimes you get the assistant coaches, but he was coming every time to the house. And then he sat in my house and told my mother, he said, look, I've seen everything that your son went through. I got relationships in the NBA. They say he's projected between 10th and 17th. He said, look, we're going to be good with you and we're going to be good without you. We'd love to have you, but knowing what I know, go pro.
Yeah.
And that was a moment. That was a very moment.
Oh, that's how that kick off.
From the OG.
An OG told me. I was like, I said, you know what? That's it.
Shit. Do you feel like that, like, scared a lot of teams with that case, or a lot of, they still rock with you because they understood the situation when they, 17, 16, that's same age. So
yeah, but the thing was, and shout out to Sonny Vaccaro too.
Yeah,
Sonny
rest in peace, Sonny.
Yeah, he's a godfather, man. Like he laid it out for a single parent 17-year-old where, like it was one of those things where he just like made sure that every box was checked. And, he got me with Aaron Tellum, who was my agent my entire career. And they did the business. Like I knew that it was a chance I can go to, I think Sacramento had the 10th pick. Somebody I forgot who had the 10th pick. Charlotte had back-to-back picks at 12 and 13. Yeah. And there was a chance that, I could go there. But I knew I was going to fall any later than 17.
So when Coach Pitino told you that, he really stamped it for you. Like, fuck college, just get your league.
And that was our mindset too, man, because you can only get so many signs, right? You facing prison time, right? You get off that. Now you're facing expulsion from the season.
Word.
You get off that. Now you got the hyperextension. You get off that, and on top of it, they had switched my SAT testing site. So you can combine the scores. All you need, all I need was like 40 more points, and they switched it to a spot across town. So just a lot of things coming like bang, 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 and it was like it was God's will because the people that came into my life put me in the right direction.
Yeah, that's big, man. I can't front. And you both of you guys had, like you say, same paths. Man. There's just so many obstacles that get in front of you. You got to overcome, man. Doing that at an early age, man, like you did, was big, man. So you guys playing the All-American game, both of you guys.
Yeah.
I always admire that, bro, because I tell everybody, man, I played in the Taco Bell game. I be mixing it up every now and then.
But win these games.
But just, no, for real. But, man, y'all got to explain that experience to the viewers. I love hearing it.
Man, the McDonald's, man, it was a dope experience, man, because again, back then, we wasn't seeing everybody. Like you can go every weekend and see a kid now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got social media, whatever it is. Like
it's
like
that.
You had the Street and Smith magazine, and you got to read and whatever it is. And to be in there, man, with we had a dope class with Mike Bibby, Shaheen Holloway, Kobe, obviously, Bean, Steven Jackson, Tim Thomas. It was just a lot of dope ass people, man. And I remember getting there. It was in Pittsburgh, and I was like, you know, I'm going to have to really show people what I got because back then, like they really was getting after it. It wasn't no, I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to show up and not play. It was like, I can't wait to see this.
Come on, man. We going at
wait.
Niggas is going at niggas for real.
Era.
It
Sound like a different
now it's
era.
a lot of he homies. It still was there, but we trying to bust a nigga ass.
Yeah.
So like, you I'm trying to go at you though.
I love it. I love it.
I'm going at you. He ain't bullshit.
That's big, man.
Damn.
Pretty much all them guys was pros too. He just named it. When you walk into that class, it's like, damn.
Rip Hamilton too. I forgot Rip was in there too.
Rip. Shout out to Rip.
Yeah. Shout out to Rip.
But man, some say that's the best class ever. Some people, I mean, that's a hell of a class though.
It was some good classes, man. I think the my draft class is the best draft class.
Yeah.
It's right.
Bro, from top to bottom. So
Yeah. I got to check that joint out.
That's what they
you gotta check it out.
Oh, wait a minute. Talk to me.
And listen, I think my Ben Wallace, I think, was second round.
Yeah.
We talking about class, right? People go back and they're saying, well, LeBron and them had, it was like 4 or 5 and Bosh and them. I think Bosh in that class, Melo, I think. No, Melo was
Melo, Bosh, TJ Ford, Kurt Heinrich, Dwayne Wade, Kendrick Perkins, Leandro Barber. They had guys. But your class was Steve.
hold on, dog. We had Marbury, Antoine Walker, Ray Allen, Stojakovic, Steve Nash, AI, Camby.
Ooh. Well, y'all got some heat.
Lorenzen right at the time.
Y'all got some heat.
That's what I'm saying. And we talking about John Wallace, I was at Cuse.
Yeah.
Like, pull it up. Just pull it up. Like,
John Wallace was a beast. Damn.
What?
He was a beast, too.
He got to it. Galskis was there. I mean, think about it was
we're missing some names too. I know that. We're missing.
We said Marbury, right?
Yeah, we're missing Sharif Abdul-Rahim.
Sharif.
You had Reef too? Damn.
Bro, listen.
I think Twan was part of that too.
Yep, Twan was there.
Boy, they say it's one of the best draft class ever. Boy.
Bro, it was deep, bro.
It's conference final basketball. Y'all already know we working with Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app. Prize Picks is here for you to make picks all playoff long, whether it's points, rebounds, or assists. It's simple. Either pick more or less to give yourself a shot to win up to 2,000 times your money. And y'all already know, it's a skill-based game. It's on you. So head over to Prize Picks. Use promo code MUD. You'll get $50 instantly after you play with the first $5 lineup. Prize Picks got you guys with Flex Play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You don't want to miss out on a chance to cash out with the conference finals and the finals on the way. You guys already know what to do. Go to Prize Picks, download the app, and use the promo code MUD. And get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code MUD to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, running your game.
With your draft, like with the workout, back then the workouts was different. We had to go against each other.
The same way. You had to go against it. And you wanted that, right? Especially a high school player. You're trying to prove, right? First thing that jumped out to me right away was the strength. I was 217 coming out of high school.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Like we ain't had no weight room. Everything you had, it was off the muscle. Right? It wasn't no training with none of that, bro. So going and playing against some of the other stronger guys, I was like, damn, these niggas is strong. Right? And so you had to try to use your quickness, whatever it is. Yeah. But it was one of those things, man, where I felt like from a talent perspective, I was good. Yeah. From a physical perspective, I knew I needed some work. Right? Because they just was different, bro. Yeah. They were more prepared from a physical perspective, but
I mean, you working out with you 17, 18?
17.
I'm saying he was when you start working out with the NBA teams for draft process coming to high school, he was 17.
Yep.
Your age, yeah.
Yep.
What was your first workout like?
But you know what? Aaron did a good job. My agent did a good job on making sure things are a little bit scripted. Like I didn't go to the combine.
That's great.
Right? You fuck around and get on the team with guards that don't want to pass the ball. Right. So, we did the private joints. We'll do the individual skill set that we'll make sure that whoever they had there, I was able to play one-on-one against. So everything I did was skill work first, speed, strength, and then that was all with the staff, and then whoever they had there would play one-on-one. So I always felt like I was quick enough and athletic enough to get what I need to get to. But when we bang bodies, it kind of in my mind, I'm taking notes like, okay, he ain't fast, he ain't quick, but he's strong, right? He know how to use his body. So I'm taking all these notes, and crazy enough, I get drafted, go to Portland. And we got Sheed Wallace, we got Gary Trent, we got Cliff Robinson, we got Vita Sabonis, we
Straight
got Chris
dogs.
Dudley. Bruh.
Vets, super vets.
Listen, bruh.
The guys.
I'm gonna tell you the craziest story. So Gary Trent picks me up. And if you know Gary
Shout out G Trent, the real one. Shout out G Trent, man.
So we go to this teriyaki place, right? First of all, nigga 6'9", 260, 250, whatever it is. Teriyaki, he ordered double order teriyaki chicken and rice. I'm 17, right? So I'm sitting there talking, everything like kid this, kid that. That's what he's calling the kid. Food come out. And he started eating the food. He started picking the food up with his hand, eating. Talking food flying out his mouth. Like, I'm like, oh, we on this then. Okay. I see what type of dude he is. And then he's like, yo, kid, I'm gonna show you how to do this. So next day we go to the weight room. He goes around and I'm getting all of my gear and stuff. All I hear is clean, clean, clean. And they got 3, 4 plates on both sides.
Yeah.
This is before I even hit the practice. And my mind right away, I was like, okay.
This is about to be a long ass practice.
A long practice. But I'm going to tell you, them boys, I couldn't have went any other place but Portland.
Yeah.
They was prepared for me. I on the road, you know, 17, everybody knew I was 17 too at the time, 17, 18 years old.
Right, you the youngest player on the team in the NBA, I mean.
Yeah. And they was prepared though. Niggas brought the games. Niggas made sure I stayed fed. Like everything, bro. It's some real shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Just
the vets, they took care of you though.
Took care of me, bro.
They wrapped you.
Yeah. They took care of me, man. You know, Cliff Robinson, man, rest in peace, man. He was
my boy.
He might have been the hardest one, man, because he saw a transition coming. Sheed, I got there the same year I got there, J.R. Ryder and all them, Kenny Anderson. So it was a dope squad, but then they drafted another 4. So his mind every day, he gonna try to make it hell for me because he know the replacements are in the building.
Right.
Sheed already there. You know, they already got a plan for me 4 years down the road, and he's been there at the 4 position. So every day he has something to say, right?
Yeah.
Every day, hard files and everything. But that he don't know that shit made me better, bro.
Yeah, motivation.
Yep, made me better. Yep.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, man. Uncle Cliff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, bro. I always used to see, like, damn, motherfucker go to Portland. They always fall in love with Portland, bro.
Yeah.
He love going to Portland.
Yeah,
He
man.
kept him dope,
Certified.
right? 50 tickets going to
Watching
Portland.
him, man. He paid the way. I said, watching J.O. come through that thing.
Yeah. Man, you got busy out there,
Yeah.
boy.
LPO, man.
Yeah, people. That's a good town, man.
Yeah.
Like people don't realize, man. They love that team,
Yeah.
bro.
Fans is loyal. Great
Yeah.
fans, man.
Love that
I
team.
love the Portland when I was out there. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah. I want to ask you, though, what was you doing on your draft night, though? Where you was at? You was that you was doing with the family? Or you was
Man,
in the hood, you had to gather?
No, we stayed at the crib,
Yeah.
man. But people got to remember too. Back then, when you made yourself eligible for the draft, it wasn't no going back.
Right, all of getting the
right.
agent and trying to test the
As
water.
soon as you put your
That
name
wasn't
in,
going on.
Right.
you there. And if
You
you
there.
don't get drafted, you done. Right. And so my nerves are so bad, bro. Like I couldn't go to New York. And I wanted to be around people that I felt like was gonna bring me comfort at the time, right? I could celebrate with them. I had a pretty good feeling that I would get drafted. But you know, shit, bro, you know, anything happen in the draft, bro.
Yeah.
Somebody get taken early that shouldn't got taken early and throw some things off. And all of a sudden, you know, you go on draft. We see it every year in the draft.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Rude awakenings.
yeah. But we had like my high school coach got me a little brown suit.
Yeah.
I remember this shit like, yes, a little brown nasty suit, doodle brown suit. And I just stayed there, man. I sat there. I remember the phone was right there and I just sat there and watched all the picks. And then when we got to 10, I started sweating a little bit. We got to 15. I was like, 16, nothing. 17. Because remember,
ringing.
that was my range. And when that phone rang, that 17, I was like, okay. But then, you know, the crazy thing is that I remember talking to the Blaze. They had a draft party, and people were booing because John Wallace was behind me. Y'all remember John Wallace
Man, John
got
was a
busy at
beast.
Q's.
Yeah,
What?
Syracuse. Yeah,
Real
Yeah.
beats.
Yeah, he's another one that didn't go work out. But he was a monster. But everybody wanted John Wallace
Yeah.
because what he did at Q's. And they booing. I'm like, oh, okay. I said, I'm gonna worry about that shit later. I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna get to this money right quick. You know,
it's motivation,
and that was important for me, right? You know, my mom and my mom working 2 jobs. My brother raised me, so she was always crossing. So when I get up in the morning, she was at a job, and when I went to school, she came home from the job. When I came back home from school, she was already gone to the next job.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Monday through Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sundays when she was home with us, and this went on for years, bro.
Yeah,
straight up.
Yeah, that's hard, man. That's hard for sure.
You was now we talking about in the league. We always talk about out the mud. What was your out the mud moment, man? Where you came in and either bust somebody's ass or you felt like, man, I belong, or
man, I'm gonna be honest, fellas. My out the mud was waiting for 4 years.
Yeah,
so a lot of niggas can't go 4 years, bro. Crazy thing is, back then it was a 3-year contract off the draft joint, right? I had a chance to go. It was Chicago. It was New York. And it was Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to go start. We had just lost. Sean Elliott hit that corner 3, didn't step on the line. I don't know how the hell he didn't do that. Yeah, hit that corner 3, and
that was West Conference Final.
West Conference Final.
Yeah.
So I'm young, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm 19, 20 years old. We got a chance to win a chip with the squad. All I need to know is that I got a chance, and I'm gonna have an opportunity to play.
Right, okay.
Ain't got to be starting, right? I just want to play and earn my my roses on when they come to that perspective of being on the court. And they was like, yeah, we're gonna play. Mike Dunleavy was like, yeah, you're gonna play 24 minutes a game. This is what it's gonna be. He said minimum. So I said, okay, I'm going back. If you could pull up right now, my time went down every year I played.
Yeah,
at Portland. So I always tell people like the level of mental toughness that you got to go through in that shit when you watching everybody else year over year. Now it's high school players coming in every year. Now those high school players are getting drafted and they're playing right away.
Right.
Here I am in my 4th year. I just signed a new 4-year deal and they trying to suffocate me.
Mm-hmm.
Give me these excuses on why I'm not playing. I'm like, bro, hold on. My first 2 years I can understand. Now you can say whatever, physically not ready. 3rd year I was ready. 4th year I was ready.
Mm-hmm.
No question. I was ready. I was out working people. You actually them, they'll tell you that.
That's right.
Shit, Pip did something on ESPN. It's like, yo, I don't know why the kid ain't playing.
I remember that.
He out playing everybody in practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my out of the mud because you have to be wired different, bruh. And I remember I told my mother, I said, look, she said, yo, are you sure you want to do this? You want to go from high school to the pros? These are men. I said, Mom, I got this. So I got you. So every time that I got into my feelings about whatever it is, they ain't playing me or worry about somebody else doing something, I had to remind myself why I was doing my purpose, right? My purpose is to take care of my family. My purpose is to be good at what I do, right? I knew in my mind, I said, I'm going to be an all-star. I got to. Like it was no other way, right? Because if you ain't trying to be that, you ain't trying to be considered one of the best at your craft, why are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just picking up a check. And especially back then where it was physical, the niggas was like really at you.
Yeah.
And I had the power forward position every night.
Every night.
Hey,
I'm telling you, bro, every night.
Every night.
Every night is the best players, the power forwards in the West. That's
real.
it. Every night, bro.
And niggas taking naps, boy.
Every
looking
night.
at that schedule.
Every night.
You played in that hand checking era too?
Hell yeah.
I know you played.
Yeah.
Come on,
man.
man.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm talking about they can chuck you, right? They ain't gonna let you get to that sweet spot. Nigga, you spinning and you going back and forth, and it's a real fight. It wasn't, it wasn't none of this. I always tell people too, man, like I always try to be careful in like what I talk about from this new era to what we've been through, because I don't want to be the nigga that be looking like I'm hating on it.
Yeah.
But the true fact of the matter is, dudes was about that life at every aspect of it. Like it wasn't no shit. Y'all know this ain't no shit. All right, we gonna stay in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You is wild like that.
Think about how close the locker rooms are in every arena.
Yeah.
Like you gonna walk past them. There's gonna be some action, right? And so that's the difference, right? Where I think people really respected people's craft, but we can be friends. But when we get on that court, it's action,
time.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's either you or me in that situation. So that's I learned a lot through Portland for sure. Being drafted there. That prepared me for everything. That was college 101 for me.
Talk to us about, actually leaving Portland and being able to go up to Indiana and showcase your talents at a high level.
Yeah, crazy story is, so when we, I remember my boy Bonzi Wells was sitting at the end of the bench.
B Wells,
B
out to my
Weezy,
boy
B
B Weezy.
Weezy. We was playing the Lakers, man, and we thought we had that one. And winning sometimes heals things.
Yeah,
It ain't gonna heal everything,
sure.
right? But I was like, okay, well, I ain't playing as much as I want to play, but shit, I'm getting this experience. I'm going through, we're in the conference finals again. We got a chance. We can get to the finals. I think Indiana at the time was representing the East. Like I think they were waiting on the Western Conference opponent. And we was like, yo, we'll beat Indy. We got the team we'll beat, so we just want to win this. And when them niggas went on that run, like Brian Shaw banked in that 3.
Yeah.
And all hell broke loose. And I remember being super emotional on the bench because every reason for me going back there and not putting myself first, going to another team, getting an opportunity, was to go win a championship. And when they stormed back and won the game, I sat there and I told Bonds, I'm done. I said, I'm willing to sit out the whole year. And that was gonna happen. Right, at the time, Adidas was a big player in that too. So what Adidas did, Sonny and Adidas and R&T, they reached out to the Trailblazers, said, look, if you don't trade him, he's not reporting. He's now going into his 5th year. How many years it take for you to play a nigga? Like, it don't take 5 years to play nobody, bro. Especially when you getting better. Like I've redefined my body, my game. Had I played in the summer league 3 straight years, bro.
Right, you in full compliance with the organization.
Full compliance.
Yeah.
Right? And then to be dealt with like that, and then when you go and talk to him, it's like, okay, well, I don't know, well, the general manager wasn't you play, or they come back, talk to the general manager, oh, it's the coach. It was that type of thing. It was a circus. So for me, I was already physically ready.
Okay.
That's when I got to Indy right away. I
Took
won
off.
most improved year one.
Most improved. I remember that.
But I'm gonna tell you the crazy story though. Was in Oakland for the All-Star game. I was at the convention center going to the dunk contest. And Isaiah Thomas, I'd never met Isaiah Thomas before. He was coming and I was going. I was like, yo, man, look, that's Zeke right there. The nigga don't grew up watching Zeke get busy. Zeke comes up to me, grab my arm. He says, hey, man, keep working. People see you. Your time coming. Not even 6 months later, he gets the job at Indy.
The head coach's job.
The first move he makes, we had just got to Jamaica, me and my wife. Literally just got there. We, like the day of, I got a call from my agent, like, yo, can you get back? You going to Indy. Nigga, we jumped on this little prop plane, bro. I'm not even lying to y'all niggas. Like, we got out of there so fast, bro, because there wasn't no flights. I said, yo, find me a plane. We on this little ass prop plane to get there. And when I got to South Carolina, he was there waiting on me. He was there waiting on me, bro. And that man became a real live father figure for me.
Zeke, a real one.
He was a real one, bro. And he did what he said. He did everything he said he was going to do, man. He used to live like 3 or 4 minutes from me in Indy. Go over to his crib, sit down, pick his brain, talk to him about, hey, like, what do you see? Like, what made you, look at things this way? Like, what are some of the things that you think I can do better? And he just like, he built that shit up, bro.
And that's why you took off like that. I was a big fan of yours, watch you and everything. When you got to Indiana, that's the hometown. You playing against them every day already. You was ready.
Yeah, 100%.
So they couldn't fuck with you when you got to Indiana.
And I thought
first year All-Star, you got there.
Bro, listen, I'm thinking
killing them niggas.
I'm watching what Brian Grant, Shee, Wallace, Sabonis, them doing to other people. And I'm watching what I am doing in practice against them. I said, oh yeah, I got this. I'm ready to rock. And that's what the thing that it was some real niggas on that team, bro, that really
and real dog.
Yeah.
But I tell my kids this all the time, bro. And that's the same way, like me and you got the same situations, because when I came to Portland after you left, I got drafted, but I got so much better in practice. And that's why I be telling my son, he 11, 12, I'm telling my daughters, you get better in practice. You go hard in practice. That's where I got my game at. Going at Shee, going at Sean, them niggas going at me every day, even though I wasn't playing the same route you took, but I got so much better. So when my time came, like when you went to the Pacers, it was over with. It
was easy too,
you looking
bro.
like, man, this, we're getting 20s and 30s and I'm watching.
You know what I'm saying? It was that type of time that pretty much had you feel like this is about to be my franchise.
Well, I felt like I needed to, it's 2 things, right? I really respected what Reggie was. right? Reggie had the power to veto that. Remember, now they just came off a finals appearance.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? That's his first ever finals. All he had to do was like, yo, listen, if y'all trade for this young boy, trade me. Right? He could have put the franchise in that position, but and that would have worked, right? They wouldn't have traded for me, right? If Reggie Miller would have said that. But I remember like getting there, there's two things that happened right away. I was sitting at the Champs downtown Indianapolis, and literally like the table right next to me, and they're talking like I can't hear them. Right? It's like they're talking about me because Dale Davis was so loved.
Yeah, they loved Dale
in Indianapolis. That's like, yeah, that's the guy they traded Dale for. Like in a negative tone. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm taking it all in. Now I say this to say, remember, I always was struggling. The demon that I was struggling with was acceptance. Right. So it made me angry about everything that I did because I wanted to be accepted. Because again, my dad never accepted me. So that was another learned behavior. So I'm already turning up. I said, okay, I know what I gotta go do. So I get to the arena and Reggie there. And Reggie's like, yo, I'm gonna let you be whatever you want to be as long as you work for it. So I ain't got no problem with you. I ain't got no problem with you. Say, look, we need to get younger and we gonna rock with you as long as you earn it. And right away, I knew that was my opportunity, right? Because he could have easily went the other way with it, right? Reggie, out of all, I had some dope teammates. Reggie has meant the most to me in my career. Make no mistake, right? So everything I did wasn't even about me. I knew I had to be good for him to have an opportunity to try to win a championship. And he made it clear he wanted to win the championship. So it's like, okay, well, if I'm good, the other things, the all-star games, the contracts, that's going to happen.
Right.
Right. But it was always looking at Reggie. Like I sit next to him every day. And so one of those things, I just felt like I had a responsibility to be what I need to be and represent, the organization a certain way.
Yeah, man, that work ethic, I'm pretty sure was impeccable playing alongside Reggie Miller. It's like you want to get that anyway.
Come on, man.
You
Shout out to Reg, man.
One of the greatest. So it's like
Indiana legend, man. I grew up admiring,
Man, it's crazy because he do everything on a timely basis. Literally, everything is on a timely basis. Like he shoot the same time, he eat his Snicker bar the same time, he drives the same route. Like everything is precise. Right. And I knew I couldn't do that. I knew I couldn't get to that level of like preciseness because again, he's looking at the clock. And the late great Benner, they used to do all our media stuff there for the Pacers. He's always bring him his Coke. Same time. And that's what made him great. But I will tell y'all this, by playing with Reggie, Steph, Ray, and Clay, all had the same similarities. All those shooters had the same similarities.
They got a superstition about they self-sound. Like they want to do repetition, everything. When I wake up, when I put on my socks, you get what I'm saying? They're heading out the door. It's like, I love that. I ain't gonna lie. Because you build some sort of consistency. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just like with your shot, you wanna shoot the same way every time. I know I'm a clanking ass motherfucker. Now, I ain't speaking like no shooter out here now. But I can understand what them guys' process was at the time, man.
I'm telling you, that was the reason why, man, people don't realize, man, like, me and Reggie was tight, bro, and everything that transpired with the Pacers, man, was, I just saw something the other day with Jack talking to Reggie. They did an interview on All the Smoke. And what Jack said was the truth. Like, I don't care who came there. We made it clear on what our purpose was. Right? Let the OG walk out with a chip. And that was agenda. And, unfortunately, for us, as I progress as a franchise player, we're all young. Right? So me and Ron had this thing. Right? And it became, when you have two real niggas like getting together, right? And at the time, I wasn't as educated about what he was going through. So I took it as in he was trying to derail what we were trying to do, right? So when you hear Reggie talk about, I just wanted to get together, I wasn't trying to hear that. But either you show up every day and you give us what you need to give us so we can go win this game, or we got a problem. And that became a real thing in our locker room, really for the existence. I tried, like, man, come on out, do this, man. Let's go grab dinner. Let me figure it out. But remember, y'all know back then, if you said somebody was crazy or whatever, it's like a torn Achilles.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't no mental health back then.
No, it definitely wasn't called that.
No.
It definitely wasn't called that.
Right, straight up, right?
Yes.
And so that became a little bit of a challenge for us in our locker room. And one thing we were really good at is when they threw the ball up, we just went and hooped. But then when we stepped off that court, we went our separate ways.
It was no camaraderie, really.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the team it was, but me and Ron wasn't.
Right.
Right. And in order to win a chip, you gotta be there.
Yeah, your guys gotta be guys.
Right.
For real.
Yeah. Gotta be there. And we just never, like, I felt like, at the time, I felt like he was disrespecting what we were trying to do. And, I tried my best, man, to look at it differently, but I wasn't, at the time, I'm already dealing with my own demons. Like, make no mistake, brother, like, when you never feel whole and you achieve so much and that's never enough, and I'm triggered all the time. Like, literally, like, triggered all the time, where if I go into the hallway and I see my peers or my teammates or whoever with that dad, like, I'm shutting down. I'm feeling a certain way. I'm going home. I'm going to eat in my room. And my chef at the time already knew the way to put my food at. I text him, know where my food go, right? And so I'm dealing with that. And when you're trying to build a career after not feeling appreciated in Portland, didn't feel appreciated in Portland. I felt appreciated from the city, didn't feel appreciated from the organization. Right. And it's an amazing organization, by the way. Shout out to the Allen family who gave me an opportunity to be even sitting here having this conversation with you guys. So I respect that. But from a basketball perspective, it came down to appreciation. Right. And so that was the thing that really kind of spearheaded. And as we continue to get better, we got a little bit more nasty in how we presented, ourselves on the court. But again, when you ain't like this, it's hard to win.
That's right.
You can win a lot of games, but you ain't gonna win no championship.
Word.
Speaking of championship, y'all had a 60 win season.
Yeah.
It was
62, 64, yeah.
You was playing like an MVP caliber type guy that year, man. You was putting in that work.
Yeah.
What fueled that year, man?
Every year was just a different year. It was let's keep building. Let's keep building. We knew, like, that year we knew we were good. Like, we knew we were good.
Yeah.
And we did it off just raw talent, like not really knowing how to win a championship, right? We just said, look, roll the ball out. We're going to be better than you today. Right? Yeah. And that was our thing, right? And then we used to break down the games where, we had to win at least, a bad 5 games spread was, if we won 3, we were average.
Mm-hmm.
We won 4, we were good. And we were 5, we were great. And we rocked off that same pattern the whole season. And I don't think we lost 3 games in a row the whole year.
Sound like some analytic stuff to me y'all was doing earlier.
Man, bro. That's what they used to do. They did that in Portland too.
Yeah.
Like you said, the 5.
And Rick Carlisle did a good job with that, man. He put that on the board. We was like, yeah, so all we got to do is win, 4 games, minimum 3, and we going to end up here. And we started getting after it.
Yeah. A big year, man. That was a big year, man.
Like, Indiana was everything to me, bro. Like, I felt like, going through with my past and my upbringing and having these deficiencies, it felt like I found a home. I found people that really love me and appreciate me, and it made me want to do more. All right, so I was so into the community and doing things, and it was like, okay, this is my family. Like, they really rocking with me, right? And then you move forward after that, that 64 win season. We coming back into the season. I get the team to come in early. We said, okay, well, we lost in the conference finals. Wasn't really together. We had me and Ron had some issue, whatever it was. The game that Reggie got blocked, remember back then, it used to be like a 2 or 3 day span when you had to switch, from one home to the next. We hadn't seen Ron since that game. When we saw Ron, it was at shoot-around in the conference finals, right? And so it was one of those things where I didn't know how to handle what I need to handle, and then he didn't know how to handle it because he was fighting his own demons, right? And so obviously we going to lose that game. We talk, we get Jack. And we felt like Jack was the piece that will get us over the top. We was like, look, we about to run through the league. This is what we gonna do. And at the time we go to Detroit, we felt like we need to set the tone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it wouldn't, and obviously they didn't like us, we didn't like them. I got some homies on the team.
Yeah.
Right? We good, beyond the court, but when we on the court, Cheat, I don't like you.
Yeah.
Rip, I don't like you. We've been boys since.
It's a build up to this shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, man.
It's a real, but people don't realize too, man, crazy enough, they used to call the hotels, they'd be outside the hotel. It was one of those rivalries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They calling the phone, prank calling.
It's calling, bro. And so, obviously, we get to the joint and we take care of business, and then the fight happened.
Yeah, man, you gotta enlighten me on that, man, because I ain't gonna lie. My whole time playing, bro, fans ain't really never got disrespect for me like that. But it had to been something that transpired leading up to that. You get what I'm saying? Take us through that day, man.
So we knew it was a national televised game, so we were locked in. We were engaged. We said, look, we about to go put some hands on these boys. And we did. We understood. I think it is a balance, man. I think having a vibe going into Detroit was amazing for a couple of reasons. One, the intensity and the hate was real, so it motivated you.
Yeah, get you cracking.
You feel it, bro. You feel your hair standing up like you. then they had this announcer. I don't know if you remember. What's the black dude name? Like.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Bruh, when the pregame, when he's doing the starting lineup, bruh, like you about to blow a vessel. Like, oh, okay, them niggas on this tonight, huh? And so the game start, we get rocking. Obviously, we win. People don't realize that the ref that was fixing games,
Doherty, I think.
Did that game.
Donahue. Yeah.
He did that game. So when you look at this process, bro, like when Ben gets into it with Ron, it's like almost like a 5 minute time lapse. Think about this. Like you in the game, something happened, they break it up, whatever. These refs step back. So, Ben had all these bands. He just started throwing them. He started taking them out, throwing them. Right, so the first one go, boom. Second one go, boom. Third, now the crowd like, oh yeah, let me get into it. So they getting hyped, and then so Ron actually does his job. He goes and lay down on the actual scoreboard, and Ben still throws the last band. That's when the cup came.
Right,
and so we all thought that Ben ignited it. That's just how we felt. Ben thought that he was going to be suspended. Right? And so one of those things where it was unfortunate because it was on national television. Right? You had the refs that didn't even separate the teams, bruh. The teams are trying to separate each other. Right? Which is crazy to think, bruh, that a 5 minute lapse, real time. Right, you got players going yelling back and forth, coming down, and all this other. That never happens, bro. They clean that up so quick,
so
bro.
fast.
Yeah, so fast.
So it was like, and you see the refs standing over there, and they're not really, not really trying to, engage. And so the thing that really, once everything really transpired, bro, like it was. So can you imagine? And can you imagine being in an arena, and you got on a jersey? And it ain't a soul in the arena to protect you.
You're a little island. You're a little on the island.
Right. Man. So think about what you're gonna do, right?
Hell yeah.
You see some cats run on the court, what you gonna do?
Back against the wall.
You in the Terra Dome in Detroit, where they don't like us, we don't like them. We had some issues. They had some issues with our fans in Indy, so it was like one of those relationships. And I'm like, bro, like they said, I'm just kind of standing and I'm looking like, what in the hell is niggas jumping across? Niggas jumping across like seats, rocking separating the seats. They got the little dustpans running around. See, let me say this. I respect the position the NBA was in. I do. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. They're not about to mess that up.
Understandable.
I was disappointed. Like, everybody want due process. Like, everybody want an opportunity to show, okay, this is right. This is what happened. So they reacting at the time, the late, great David Stern, obviously is a different type of commissioner than Adam Silver, right? It was like he ran it with iron fist. So he wasn't trying to hear nothing.
Yeah,
right?
I hear a lot of stories
David
about Stern.
He wasn't playing at all.
He wasn't trying to hear nothing, right?
It's the conference finals picks with the grandfather. You guys already know what to do. Head over to Prize Picks, download the app, and use promo code MUD. You get $50 instantly if you play with as little as $5 with your first lineup. Conference finals, the last four. It's do or die for the East, game 5 tonight. This series has been the battle of point guards. Both of them had some good games, but you know that man in Indiana had a triple-double last game. No turnovers. So here are my first 3 picks. Let's go more on points for Tyrese and more on assists as well. And on rebounds, I don't think he'd get 10 again. So I go less. For my last 3 picks, they're easy. Jalen Brunson, we're going more on points for sure. He a volume shooter. He gonna come out guns blazing and get a lot of shots up in the elimination game. We're gonna head over to the big fella now, Big Cat. I like what he's been doing this series. He's been aggressive, showing why he's a good big man in the league. So let's go more on points and rebound. And that's it for that. And those are my picks for the week. Make sure you guys go download the app, use the promo code MUD, and let's get back to the episode.
And so it's one of those things, bro, where I was like, I was hurt because Ron did what he did because however he decided. Jack was in support, right? Loyal. People don't even realize, bro. And I have this thumb drive this big with everything. That's how the Netflix doc got done. So I'm there and I'm watching. I'm stunned, and I'm looking around like, is Mom really trying to get down here? Yeah, it took me a second to digest it. Next thing you know, everybody's on the court. And I'm looking around, there ain't no security. Next thing you know, you got a dude jump around my neck. See, nobody never, ever saw this. Right? And it's the film was available. Guy jumped around my neck. I had a security guard that toted with me everywhere. He into it with a fan. I'm at that point now, I'm out of shock. Now I'm in retaliation, right? Boom, slam the dude on the table. And I look to the left because, again, my security guy's to the left. And I look to the left and I see Anthony Johnson down there. See, people think I just ran in and was just hitting people. That wasn't the case.
No.
So I saw him. He's on the ground. The little guy's on top of him, and there's people standing around him. I see Anthony Johnson trying to get up, and I run over there and I slip.
I saw the slip.
I remember the slip.
Yeah.
I saw the slip.
But I hit him because now he's trying to bring harm to my homeboy, my teammate. Here's the thing that really bugged me out. See, I went to federal court. See, people thought I was suspended and came back. Just so I did all my suspension. I went to federal court and won. I went to federal court in New York City. We went through appeals process. We went to and won. And the judge said I had every right
to get that man off your back.
To do what I did.
Yeah.
Every right.
Media ain't gonna talk about that.
Nobody said nothing, right? And that was fine. I understood the timing wasn't right. But here's where I was hurt. Because again, you got to think about this, right? So my mindset is it's a standard to how we do things every day, right? My mother was a superwoman. She set that standard because that's all we had to live off of, a standard. We didn't have much. So when I'm in there and people talk about like leadership, put your ass in that.
Man,
no,
I'm
sure.
I would have did the same
like
motherfucking thing.
Grabbing your jersey. Like, think about it. All our jerseys was torn. Like all of this. And I think the problem, we show up every day to these teams. And we try to be the best we can be for these teams. And at the end of the day, we have a responsibility for them, right? Where's the responsibility for them to us? Like they left me out there to dry, bruh. I'm talking about to this very moment, bruh. Like they have never said, okay, well, J.O., man, listen, man, I get it was a terrible situation. And I'm not saying that, nobody owed me anything, bruh, but when you give everything you got, like the NBA has a responsibility, just like you tell us we have a responsibility to show up and represent them the way that they need to be represented.
Yeah.
Right? They watched the tape. They watched everything in the tape. They had all the information that we use for the court case. So I thought at some point they'll come out and say, you know what? This is an unfortunate situation. Whatever you want to say about Ron, Jack, or me, you say it however you want to say it, but based off the truth. And to this very moment, bro, I'm still listening to all, people still ask me about this all the time. I'm like, bro, like, you had a chance to really set the table, right? And then the NBA was one thing, and then the Pacers. I'm the same one that won that Community Assist Award 3 times, NBA Community Assist Award, right? I'm the same one that comes to toy drives, to food drives, to, taking kids to proms, starting the All-Star game so kids in Indy can be seen. By the way, two of them went to the NBA.
Yeah.
Right. They got a college opportunity out of it, right? I'm that same nigga, right? But then you sit there and the Pacers, it's special to me, bro, and that's why I was so hurt. I was hurt, bro. Like when they didn't say anything, they didn't say, okay, well, say something. Suit up for me like I suit up for you. Suit up for me like I suit up for your community. Right? I treated your community like I was from the community. I didn't have to do any of that. Right? I was being what I needed to be for my community, for the people that supported me. So when you think how I think, like my idea is like, okay, now they abandoning me. That was crushing for me, bruh. I would tell you, I lost all love for basketball. Like I did not love basketball the rest of my career, bruh. And that's when my body started to break down, right? Because it's equivalence of like having a wife, right? And you get up every day, you go to work and you put in for your wife and your family, and then she turn around right in front of you and then just do you wrong blatantly with no regard to it. And so like you got people that you let a narrative be created, not only created, but let it be engraved. When you know the quality of nigga I am. Red, like I'm not the one. Like you're not, listen, I ain't gonna sit here and say, I'm church bells.
No.
Like if you try to bring action to me, I'm gonna react about that. And I will say that. But I'm not the one that's going out looking for action. I'm gonna protect myself and others, in the process of something like the brawl. And I'm just really disappointed, bro. Like, bro, I went the rest of my career and it was, it's hard to lose love for something that you love so much, that created so much opportunity for your family, right? Like I love basketball, bruh. That was my safe place. When everything else was going on in my life, I loved basketball. And when the Indiana Pacers, after the craziness calmed down, but the NBA, now think about this, like I feel this way about it. They've given me a chance to have an amazing life. Shout out to the Simon family who gave me the max deal and any other team who paid me. But y'all know when you go, like, we like warriors. You show up every day to the gym and you
give it your all.
Like people, you taking kidney tests. I was taking liver and kidney tests every season because we popping pills to go play.
And just
right. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's like this thing, bro. Like when I always cringe when people ask me about that because I felt like at the time when that happened, I probably would have been maybe 5, 6, 7 time All-Star.
Yeah.
Consecutively. I was in that mode. But when it happened, bro, I remember like them saying, look, we don't want you around our arenas. You can't go to no arenas. You can't go to no practices. We want you around nothing NBA. And I got to put it in perspective. It was the same thing. I felt like it was the same thing my dad told me. Right? You ain't good enough for me no more. I don't want you. Right? And that shit was impactful to me, bro. Like, that shit really broke me down mentally, emotionally, physically. My body just broke down, bro. Because all the love was gone.
Man, that's it. You talked about that max deal, and that signing that max deal then bring you away from, you know, the acceptance. Like, did you feel accepted by the Pacers at that time, or did the money heal anything? Is what I'm asking.
Nah, because I signed the deal before that happened.
Yeah.
That deal was still ongoing when I was gone. Bro, y'all know this, man. You can have all the money in the world, bro,
Shit
but
doesn't mean nothing.
you can live miserably.
That's right. Straight up.
And then you find yourself like, so when you have an abandonment issue, you try to replace these gaping emotional holes with things. They're just temporary fixes. Right? And I don't know, like I've used this thing to go to kids now and give kids information and tools to deal with that I see struggle with certain things or things that I struggle with. But I tell you, man, like anytime somebody give you $100+ million, man, it's generationally changing everything. But I still feel like I had more to give. And there was no way that I felt like, it's like leading the league in blocks and don't make one of the 3 defensive teams. Right, getting down to the All-Star game the same year. People realize I made the All-Star team that same year.
Yeah.
In Houston, and I'm not even nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm. That was my first year I made it. Houston played it a year.
And it was like one of those things, bro, where it's such an honor to play in the league, bro. Such an honor. But it's a responsibility that we all have, not only as players, but as an organization and as a league, to protect yours. Right? Stand with it. Right? Even when it's starting to rattle a little bit. Right? They had an opportunity, and again, people can have their different opinions on what happened. Mine is the facts of what it is. Right? And as soon as that judge said he had the right to do what he did and he should have never been suspended, that should have been something that should have been like, okay, the NBA should have been like, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Again, at that time, we are all held separately. So my case is different than Ron's and Jack's.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But at the same time, it felt like I was the one that bared the burden of all of it when you look at it.
Hey, you did come back early. Well, how many games they give you?
So I got 25. I got 25 games. But then by the time we got through arbitration and finally got to Supreme Court, I was right at 15 and it's immediate reinstatement. But people thought that I was just coming back off suspension. So it was one of those things where it was so tight, it was so tense and tight that nobody wanted to talk about it. I didn't even want to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, it was a lot of underground work done.
Hell yeah.
Bro. Whoever your team was around you at the time or even still today, they definitely had your best interest to get you back on that court. Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah, no, they did a good job, man. All the lawyers, the union did a good job. But it just made, it's like I knew after that, it was over. I knew it, bro. But it's no crazy feeling to show up to an arena every day and know that they're not fucking with you.
Yeah.
Like, it was clear. But it's a crazy thing, bro.
Yeah. So what that shit was like, you came back off of suspension because you feeling like they ain't fuck with you, they ain't have your back, the NBA or the Pacers. So what that was like coming back?
I was angry. When you look at average, I think I was like 32.
Shit.
The rest of the way, I was angry. And ended up being a starter. How I got to be a starter, to this day, I don't even know, because I was like, boy, they gonna manipulate them numbers, boy. There's no way they gonna let me be a starter coming off that. And I ended up being a starter. Fans voted. The fans was really rocking with me. It voted me in, and it was an experience, man. I remember like being at media day, bro, and it was like 2 people talking to me. as a starter. It's like only 2 people out of all the media there that was talking to me. And it's just one of those things, bro, where I just, I wish the Pacers would have took some time and really showed the support that I really needed to keep going. That's for sure.
Made a nigga realize fast that it's a business, you know.
100%. 100%.
Straight business.
I always tell people, man, if for 1 second you think that people care, they care when they need to care, when they have to care, when you hot and you rolling. But it's a draft every year. So I remember being on a cruise. They called me, and this year they drafted Danny Green. They said, hey, look, you know, Jill, we just gonna let you know we're gonna draft Danny. All right, he's a guy that I think is gonna be really good for the organization. But that was already a replacement, already in the making. And we ain't stupid. You know, like teams are always looking for the next player, right?
Yeah, you're right. I remember Danny Ainge used to keep it so G with me though. I ain't gonna lie. He used to be like, TA, what's up with you? And I'll be like, what's up? He'd be like, nothing much. Just looking for somebody to come take your job. He used to flat out tell me that. Shout out Danny Ainge. So that kept me in the gym. That kept me moving.
Motivated.
I'm like, yo, yeah, somebody coming to get me. So I always had to stay working, bro. It wasn't no, like, you get what I'm saying? It's stay ready, you ain't got to get ready before the saying even got it. You know what I'm saying? I was on that type of time, man. But yeah, man, it's interesting, man. Indiana, one thing about y'all fans, though, I ain't gonna lie, I know that shit happened out there in Detroit. But y'all fans are a little wild too, though. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Being in Indiana, they called me some of everything out there, man.
Man, listen, bro. But, bro, the arena's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
You're supposed to try to get somebody off their game, right? They might say anything you in these arenas, right? But it's a line that you gotta stop at, right? That you don't cross, right? And so I used to always say, look, man, would you say that to me? We was outside this arena.
Yeah.
Would you really say that to me, bro?
No.
Right, and so they start laughing. I start laughing. So yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. I think from a perspective when it comes to Nap, man, Nap is a special place, man. It's a hard hat, you know, hard working, you know, state. And Nap is, you know, obviously the city. Yeah. It's a pretty amazing place, man. Like those people, they were patient with the 21-year-old that had no real experience. Right, they gave me a chance to kind of grow into my own. Obviously, I was able to rock right away, but you know, through any mistakes that I would make as a player from a basketball standpoint, they were still rocking with me.
Yeah. Through all that incident, because I'm from Marion, Indiana, so I'm right by Indianapolis. They had y'all back, you know. We had y'all
100%.
back. Indiana, they loved y'all. The fans, like, the organization did what they did in the NBA, but the fans, the city, they embrace y'all. Like, we rocking with you. You, Stag, Ron.
And that's the thing, man. Like, you know, people think when you talk about love for a city, man, like you gotta realize. See, again, I already knew what I was dealing with. Right, I knew a part of me was devastated, bruh, because now you got a whole perception around the world about me that ain't the truth, right?
No,
right. And so I knew when we drafted Danny, the team was in a good place. Right, I knew what I can give emotionally. Like, if you ain't whole emotionally and mentally, you're never gonna be good physically for the team, right? And so what people don't realize, man, like when I talked to the Pacers when on my exit out of there, it was like I could have forced the hand to go other places, but the Roy Hibbert deal happened because I said, look, I want to make sure you guys are in a good place as I move on. See, none of that conversation was made, right? Damn. When I sat and talked with the Pacers about, hey, look, this is over. Right, and they kind of felt the same way. I said, well, Gerald, we can't just give you away, right? And I said, okay, good, whatever. Like, just whatever you guys got, let's sit down, let's talk about it. But at that point, I would have been doing injustice to that city and to that same city that supported me, that same organization that supported me when I got there, bring me there. There was no way I was going to sit around and I knew what I was dealing with. I didn't feel that same level of love and consideration when it came to me as a person. It had nothing to do with the basketball player. I took it as if, well, you're not willing to stand up for me as Jermaine, a person. We can never be the same.
Damn.
Right? And then it became a crazy thing in that, bro, where it was like this, it was a cultural issue happening, right? When that happened. Like, it was like, you got people Bob Costas and them talking about like cornrows and tattoos and do-rags. I'm like, well, what we talking about? So now the whole league is under attack. That's why the dress code happened.
Yeah, sure did.
Right? Oh, it's too urban. When our culture is the one that built it.
Yeah.
When you think about it, bruh.
Yeah.
Like hip hop and our culture, what we are, like that's what took the NBA to the next stratosphere.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, you know, David Stern made some amazing decisions. A lot of great people at the NBA office that do a lot of great work behind the scenes that help build the business, man. But I just felt like, you know, when you sitting there and you got people looking at you crazy, you got niggas that don't want to wear suits looking at you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Now they gotta wear a suit. They think, oh, you the reason why we wearing suits. Right? You know, that type of thing, right? So, and I'm already on one, so, you know, I'm waiting on some action to happen. Right? I'm ready. But it was a lot happening so fast, bro, that it didn't allow, there was no subtle, I didn't have any time to settle mentally and emotionally, and that's why I felt like it was time to do something different.
Yeah, word.
It's cool to come with those, you know, those knowings. Like, okay, it's my time is up.
Yeah.
When I left Memphis, I ain't want to leave, bro.
Really?
I ain't want to leave, bro. I ended up going to the New Orleans Pelicans. I looked around. They got me playing behind this. Like, it was all that type of good shit going right there. They got this nigga playing on me. He ain't been nowhere. He ain't been no all-star. He ain't all defense. So when I'm saying this to say, when you went to other teams, did you feel like, because you pretty much went to what? The Warriors, the Celtics, and Phoenix,
Toronto.
right?
So I originally wanted to go to Miami.
Yeah.
From Indy. But Toronto had a pick. And they were I guess they were talking to the Pacers about Roy Hibbert, right? They wanted to get a big in exchange because they already had, Danny and stuff.
Yeah. The Bosh in Toronto around that time.
He was there, yeah. So I had to go to Toronto. So I spent 6 months in Toronto, then I went to Miami.
Okay.
Right. Toronto was a dope place. It was cold as hell.
Cold
as hell, bro. And that says a lot coming from Indy. Indy cold.
Indiana cold as hell.
Yeah, but it was
brisk.
cold. I had really no real complaints about that. It was amazing country. They loved it, loved the Raptors. It just wasn't a great fit. At the time, I was trying to figure out how we fit. And then obviously at the time I was making so much money that it was, I'm always considering in consideration of like, what does it mean for me to be on this team, right? For this team to take me in. I know what how I bump up against the cap with my salary. Do me and Bosh fit?
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it didn't necessarily, it wasn't that we didn't fit. It just wasn't the right situation. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Barney
had Andrea. Yeah. So that's another thing. They had Andrea as well. So he was number one pick.
Yeah.
So you're looking at kind of everything. It's almost like I became more of like I was like coaching the situation.
Oh, you damn near player development at this time.
Yeah, like in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is what we got to do. Boom, this is how we got to do it. In my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, well, if I'm here, if it's not this way, then I'm probably holding up the progress of somebody else too. Yeah. But then again, my mindset had changed. I wasn't in kill mode no more.
Yeah, because it stripped you. It
stripped me, bro.
Hey, come on, bro. It took a lot from you.
Shit deflated you.
Bro, it deflated me, bro. It stripped me from the very thing that made me what I was. And that was hard for me, bro. And then I, going to Miami, getting with D-Wade, that was a great experience. It's the hardest experience that you can ever go through.
Play with Flash.
Listen, bro. I'm gonna tell people. I did Q Rich pod.
Knucklehead. Shout out to Knucklehead.
Yeah.
D Miles.
D Miles. Or just saw him in AI's joint too as well. But I think niggas took this the wrong way. We was talking about the Oreo cookies. I wasn't really talking about. I didn't choose Oreo cookies over a championship. That's idiotic for people to think. I was saying the 8% body fat. Yeah. Right? When you in that, think about it. 8% for a big nigga is crazy.
Yeah, Z ain't never had no 8%.
I ain't got a chance.
Bro.
You ain't shit, bro. This nigga ain't shit.
Bro.
I ain't got a chance. He got a chance.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Man, that shit hard. How you do that shit, bro?
Bro, it was And they wasn't missing every. Ask Twan to tell you. That's why Twan couldn't suit up. He wasn't gonna make it, bro. And I just remember like it was one of those things where Pat Riley's a champion, man. So you don't question that, right? You don't question either it works for you or it doesn't. Ain't no in between, no gray area. And I enjoyed being down there, but I realized, like I'm like 30 years old at the time. I'm looking at food like, bro, I don't know if I can eat this. And I'm already trying to redefine myself and try to figure everything out. But what it was, I didn't feel like, and then Boston called too. So Paul called me, Ticket called me, and then we knew Shaq was coming too. So it was like, okay, I want to deal with this situation where I got to try to make the 8% body fat. Because remember, they don't let you play if you don't make it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't play in the game. So it was like, nah, I'm gonna go do something different because I think Boston you guys had just came off win. What year did you guys win it?
2008.
Yeah, you guys had just came off of it. And so when Danny and them called, it's like, okay, we gonna get you, we gonna get Shaq, we gonna go with I said, oh Lord, we about to go get this. And so in my mind, I said, okay, I'm gonna go here, knowing that Bron was coming there. And so it was one of those things where I just felt like, Miami was cool. Let me move on to Boston. Let me try to win a championship before I shut the shop down. And that ended up being 2 of the hardest years of my life. Not even
playing
lying,
under
bro.
old Doc, man. How was it playing under Doc, man?
It was different, bro. It was different. Doc. If you are part of his group,
yeah,
he rocking with you.
Yeah,
like I never felt like, and maybe it has something to do with me as well. Not understanding what that was. Mm-hmm. Like you knew Ticket, you knew Paul, Rondo, and Ray, right? That's the nucleus, right?
Yeah.
But I never felt like it was like a welcoming thing, right? I didn't talk a lot to him. I talked a lot to Danny, right? And so in my mind, I'm like, well, shit, if I ain't talking a lot with the coach, but I'm talking to the president, the GM, that the coach like me.
Right.
Right. And so again, I'm still scrambling, trying to find that place where I can say, I'm gonna sit down. I know I'm not what I used to be. How can I go into a team and help win? But at that time, I was already still fractured, so my body was falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
Right, knee was fucked up. Right,
injury.
Just like I was falling apart. But I was the worst physical 2 years of my career in Boston, and I tore both wrists. Right, I had knee surgery, so I had 4 surgeries in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so it was one of those things where me and Doc really didn't click, not because of one thing or another. I just wasn't mentally and emotionally there. I was trying every day. I was trying to make it work, trying to do this, trying to do that. But it just wasn't those things where I did, they had already won a championship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I got to come in, I got to show something to help them try to get back, whatever that is, even if it's minimal. And then Doc was like, yeah, don't worry about scoring.
Huh? Not J.O. not J.O.
Shit, what you mean don't worry about scoring, Doc? What you mean, bro? Dog, you remember now. Don't you mean don't worry about scoring now?
No, shit, you laid belt ass us a lot of times, bro. Trust and believe. I was the dig man. You forget?
I'm the dig man.
Come on, man. Stop it, man.
But it was crazy, bro. Like, and that's an amazing place to play.
Yeah,
like Boston. I've been truly blessed, man, to play in some amazing cities, man, that really, really rock with the teams, really support the teams, and you feel guilty to a point that you can't give what you need to give, right? The competitive nature of me always about that, man. Like, bro, like, fuck you doing, man? Like, just go compete. Like, just try, give everything you got. And I'm getting ejections in my knee swole like hell all the time. P tell you, I stayed at the doctor, right? It's so much to get going every day. So I come home and practice, knee reacted, had to go Normatec ice machine just to get ready for the next day.
Yeah.
And so it was rough, man. And I just, it was I had a 2-year deal that ran out. And then late great Kobe Bryant called me. He's like, yo, I got a doctor in Europe that you should check out. And it's this orthocon treatment so we went over there, got it. chose to go to Phoenix. Phoenix didn't have any expectations. They had a young team. They wasn't talking about no playoffs. They was in the full rebuild mode. I said, perfect place for me to go.
Right.
Let me go help lead some of these young boys, help them out. It was a 1-year stop, and then Bob Myers called me, who was actually my agent. He worked on the R&Tellum. And he said, hey, look, I need you to come in and just be a mentor, right? Help mentor our young boys. And I said, okay, cool. I said, but, Bob, if I come out there, because I really don't want to necessarily play, multiple years anymore. I just come out there for a year. Can you guys connect me with the business of San Francisco? Man, the Warriors, man, shout out to the Warriors, man. They connected me. They opened up so many doors for me from a business perspective. But I got a real respect for Steph, Clay, and Draymond. I'm going to tell you the thing that really jumped out to me about Steph and Clay in particular is the first day I walk into the gym, I see they always at the opposite, they're shooting at opposite goals. And so I just stopped and watched them shoot, and they're just shooting, right? And I hear him counting, and then they go in and he doesn't count. I'm like, well, why is he skipping some of these makes? He said, no, if it hit the rim, it don't count.
Yeah.
That's how they train it?
That's how they train. He said, if it hits the rim, that shot does not count. And he was shooting, I think it was 100 threes before and after practice, right? So when people see him shoot now, and it's just, that's reps.
Yeah.
No rim. Serious reps, bro. And that was like, ooh. And it was strange because, you get a young team and a bunch of young players, they're going to start bumping heads because contracts coming up, cap space is in full effect. And they were just like this, bro. I mean, just like this. And Bob Myers he always says this on television. I went to him before I left. I said, Bob, whatever you do, we had just lost against the Clippers. I said, do not break this team up. I said, y'all got something with these boys, because I done been in, that was like my 18th year. So I done been in a lot of locker rooms, bro. And I ain't seen this with young players. This level of work, consistency, hunger, desire. When we lost against the Clippers, it was like my last game. I remember this like yesterday. Like, they were crushed. This is the first round. It wasn't like the finals where, the conference finals where you're like, oh, we worked this hard. Like, they was crushed. And I'm looking around at them, I was like,
got that
these young boys
pedigree.
special.
Yeah,
pedigree.
He was in the West at that time. We saw him as pups too. It was like, yo, we coming to Golden State. Yeah, we about to get this win. They light. Then the next year, bro, it was like we was coming in there struggling to stay in the game.
Bro,
Them folks ass just win the championship. I'm like, damn, these boys grew up quick then.
Fast.
But you putting the repetition on it, letting it be known, man. Them boys practice like that. Them
That's
boys
how they
train
practice.
like that. That shit ain't no overnight shit. So I'm glad our viewers get to hear that.
Man, it's amazing, man. Like, it was, and they were so special, bro. I remember so sitting in that locker room, and I still had my jersey on. I'm sitting there and I'm like, damn, this is it. Like, I knew it. So I'm just sitting there trying to soak it all in. Like, 18 years, boy, that was the majority of my adult life.
Hell of a career.
Yeah,
Hell of a career.
Right. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, damn, like, and I'm trying to hold it together. And it was like, the equipment guy was sitting there, he was sitting there talking to me. Forgot his name, shout out to him, I forgot. He's always super dope to me. And I remember just like finally taking off, shower, and I walked back to the hotel, that's connected to the Staples. And it was the Ritz-Carlton. And I just told my wife to meet me over there. And I went into the room, fell face down on the bed, and just cried. I knew it was over.
No, it's over with.
It's over, bro. It was such an emotional time because I never got that feeling that I had pre-brawl. And that feeling of like, man, I love this. I can't wait to get to the gym. Like, this is my life. Like, I mean, y'all know this, man. We eat, breathe, and sleep this, bro. And I felt like I was retiring on my own terms, but it wasn't the terms that I really wanted. Just wasn't. And they tried to get me to come back the next couple of years, and I just felt like let me change gears, man. I got a son, I got a daughter. I got to give them what I didn't have, right? And last 2 years of my career, they stayed here in Dallas, and I was playing. So I started to see a little bit of reaction towards my son and me. And then my daughter she was scaling in volleyball. So it was one of those things, bro, where at some point you got to walk away and you got to figure out how to walk away. And in some cases, you don't get an opportunity to, do it on your terms. And I just say this, in those 18, I would say incredible years, like I learned so much, man, the good, the bad, the indifferent. Right. What I am today is a representation of everything that I went through. And see, people don't think about the human side of that, right? When you battling a demon every day of your life, right? That want to make whatever reason, this thing that wants to make you feel not worthy of something, right? Even when you accomplish something, you get signed, making millions of dollars, you living in great cars, you all do whatever you want to do, but you never feel whole. And that's the thing that I battled my entire career, bro. Mm-hmm. Get to Portland, didn't feel whole, right? Yeah. Didn't feel whole because they wasn't playing me. Right? So I found myself fighting this thing. So, and how you speaking, I feel the same way too. There's a lot of players that feel the same way you do. You know what I mean? Like you said, I come from the same situation, single parent home, no father. Met my father when I was 32. You know what I'm saying? Mother didn't really have education, so dealing with a lot of trauma. Yeah. And not addressing it, like you said, and when you walk away from the game, like your kids, you a great father, you put an impact on the game. Your daughter is a beast in volleyball. She went to Texas, just your son, Junior, Jermaine O'Neal Jr., he going to SMU. So the things that you doing now, I think like kind of, with your NIL, working with the players, the high school players, the athletes, like your transitioning was a big part of that too. So as you're doing a great job now off the court, Man, I would say this, man, and look in this camera right here. NBA teams, you have a responsibility to these young men. You have no idea what players go through. Right? If you want a great product, you want them to be best representation of your team and your community, dig a little bit deeper. Take some time and not make it all about the wins and the losses, right? Because what we are as humans and what we deal with on a day-to-day basis will dictate a lot of wins and losses, right? So just do us a favor, man. Just take some time and invest a little bit more time, effort into, our players, man, because we all do go through a lot of things and you have no idea that those level of things and how that impacts us in our real lives.
So can you explain to our viewers about dynamic prep? And that's what motivated you to even build that from the ground up.
So Drive Nation, the club, is really spearheaded the dynamic prep to school. And I'm gonna tell y'all a lot of, like when I walked away from the game, like I wanted to go and just be around kids. It's crazy. Like everybody's like, what JL doing? And I had a lot of TV opportunities, and I said, nah, I'm gonna go just get out of the way and just go focus on these kids, because like I felt like I had an opportunity like to go back and give something that may help a kid, may give them the tools that I didn't necessarily have growing up. Right, that was important for me, right? And whether they suburban America with two parents, middle class America with one, or inner city with none of the above,
come as is,
right? The objective is giving them a purpose on how they should do this and how they deal with things, right? Like we talked about this before we jumped on. Is like mental health is like, it's like a real thing.
Damn right.
Like it's like a real thing, bro, that we're dealing with, and we don't know how to address it. Right. And so these kids are out here, the amazing opportunities for these kids, but they don't know how to really, like, it's not a format for them. And then you got these local jokers out here facilitating failure to these kids. So what I want to do is set a standard. So I built a sports complex in Dallas. Obviously, I'm not from here. I'm from South Carolina. And it just one of those, it was a passion product, a project for me. I'm talking about to a point, bro, where I believe so much in it, bro. I couldn't even get a loan. How I couldn't get a loan was crazy. Like not being able to, like having the balance sheets. I had a crib here that was $11 million, right? And all I was asking for was $6 million, right? And I was gonna put up the rest of the cash. And that's when I knew that this is more God's will and God's plan. You think about my club, just in my club in the last 7 years, we had Ron Hollins. That's what
young boy from Detroit.
Had him, he's from Dallas.
Yeah.
Had him since 6th grade. Cade Cunningham, Keontae George, my boy Jordan Walsh, Drew Timmy, Liam McNeely, that's at Connecticut, had him since 6th grade. Trey Johnson.
That's the young boy gonna come out now.
From Texas.
Yeah.
We've had the impact, right? We've had 170 plus Division I athletes come out of the program. And I knew it was God's plan and God's will for me to do this, right? Again, I didn't want to own no damn gym. I didn't want to be in the gym coaching and doing all this other stuff. And I realized the very thing that I was searching for in basketball after the brawl, all the healing that I needed was coming from these kids.
Yeah.
The youth.
Bro, it was like people, like, it's crazy, bro. Like, and you had some cats out here in Dallas. I was like, yeah, he's just using the kids. How I'm using the kids? I spent $14 million in it.
You using the kids?
Like, bro, I ain't take a salary.
This alongside with the NIL.
Yeah.
But listen to me. I did not take a salary in 7 years. I just sold the building because somebody came in with a check that I just could not say no to. And I was already, I couldn't say no to it.
Right.
But I was already in school mode because I felt like, okay, we had this impact with kids 2 or 3 days a week. What if we get them 5 days a week for 8 months? Right? You double down on the impact. And I'm a true believer. If you do things wholeheartedly, God gonna give it back to you 100 folds anyway.
That's right.
Right. And so, Dynamic just, jumped in the fray based off some of the challenges that I hear some of the kids and the parents talking about. Yeah. And we had an amazing year this year, played in the national championship game,
Champions.
Lost, and then ended up winning the Max Prep National Championship. So, but I go back to this. I never knew why I felt the way I felt and why I couldn't shake it, but it was all in preparation for what I'm doing now.
Man, and I just want to give you flowers, man, because you was one of the guys who I came in looking up to and paid away, and what you did on the court. Now, what you're doing off the court with your programs, with Drive Nation, and with the kids, you making a bigger impact now with these kids, man, for real. And they can relate to you,
Man,
a lot of more kids can relate to us, and than the others, and they relate to you and feel that, man. So for sure, shout out to Drive Nation, man.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. I appreciate that, brother. Yes, sir.
What it's been like coaching Jermaine Jr., bro?
Hardest shit in my life.
Seeing him commit to
I say the same thing.
Bro.
My kids don't listen. Y'all better start listening to me. My kids, they don't listen to me, man. I gotta get a trainer and some shit, man.
Oh man, like I'm gonna tell you, bro. Like, I'm gonna tell you. So when you don't have that male structure in your life, you try to be perfect on everything, and you try to give them what you know. But again, it's talking to these kids about what we know. It's like talking about beepers and pagers and CDs and all of. They don't understand none of that, right? My son said something to me about 2 months ago. He's like, Dad, listen. He said, every time you stand on the sideline, I'm in comparison to you. So every time that I do something, your name comes with it. He said, I'm never able to be off. He said, and I'm tired. He said, I just want to build who I am based off the work that I do. And it was traumatizing to me. Niggas, when I tell you I was traumatizing to me because I get up every day and I go after it, every day for them, right? I make sure I'm there, bro. Like a year ago, right? My son was playing, my daughter was playing in the NC2A tournament. I'm taking private planes. I'm not sleeping. Going back and forth, right? Because I can't miss nothing because I believe in that, right? Because I didn't have that, right? And so when my son said that to me, it was like, yeah, like Dad, like I just need just a break. And I was like, So how did I miss that? I never looked at it like every time I stand on the sideline, he's in comparison to me. When he's a complete different player. Complete different player. So it's one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it's also one of the most gratifying things that I've ever done, because I watched him just kind of do it at his own terms, tune the noise out, tune the haters out, and just focus on his growth.
That's big, man.
Yeah.
I had another question too. I supposed to ask this earlier though. What was to the number 7? What made you wear number 7?
Man, it's a biblical number, man. And 7th day, man, is full completion.
Man, let's go. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what shows number 7.
That was dope.
Yeah.
And will we ever see the NBA? I said the NBA, the Nike Shocks.
Shocks. I wore the Shocks. Them Shocks was cold.
They was heavy as hell though, bro.
Somehow they
Boy,
were
them
heavy.
damn Shocks was heavy, boy. I don't know. These kids. These kids, boy, they not about to wear them damn things, bro. They look good, but I don't think. And then if you step on clip somebody's foot, you gonna roll it.
You gonna roll. Hazardous.
Yeah, you gonna roll.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But no, we go rapid fire now. Y'all go rapid fire.
You know, I want to ask you, bro, the
What's that?
NIL. Cause I know you in the business too, and
Yeah.
you deal with a lot of players. So what you think about the NIL?
Man, I think it's an amazing opportunity for young men and women, man. I think here's the problem. Everybody's now starting to step over dollars to get the pennies, right? If your goal is to be a pro, right, I'm not choosing a school that, just because they're paying me more money, I'm not choosing a school because of that. I'm choosing a school that's going to put me in the best position to go, maximize my opportunity. And you're seeing a lot of that, right? Kids going off to schools that, don't even know who the roster is. Right, I need to know who's on the roster. I need to know the coaching philosophy, and you're starting to see that a lot, man. And I do think that players should be rewarded, but I think it's taken away also to hardship, because you're gonna face it at some point. If you get to the league, you for sure gonna face it.
Yeah, right.
Right, and so you're not seeing. Nobody wants to go through hardship, so they're gonna pick their ball up and go somewhere else. So I think it's the gift and the curse when it comes to NIL.
Mm-hmm.
You think they'll ever put incentives in it to where it's okay, we're giving you this much, but we expect this much?
Nah, but I do believe that they should put an age limit in this damn thing.
All right.
You can't be 26 in college, bro.
7 years senior.
I agree.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that, bro.
J.O., man, you got to tell us about that 55 piece, man. You know what I'm saying? Your career, man. You got to go and give us what you ate that day. What was the pregame warm-up that day, man? God damn, man, 55, man. What
listen,
was they
bro,
doing
like,
that day?
Hell no.
It was man, it was in 36 minutes too. No threes.
See what I mean? See what I mean? You know that
36 minutes,
bullshit that day.
Yeah, but I mean, shit. Y'all know how it is, bro. Y'all get going, bro. It's like, man, I get this nigga off the court. He can't guard me.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the thought process, right? You trying, then that was in the mode too, where we was trying to figure out where we set as a team, and I was trying to prove myself as a player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And white, you 18 years in the league, tell us who you had the most problems with, or if you had any problems that made adjustments.
Man, listen, bruh. And I'm a realist too, bruh. I thought the power forward position on a night-to-night basis was problematic.
Yeah.
Cause you got this nigga,
Mac Bolt,
right? A lefty, right? One of the best body position players that you he's gonna find a way to maneuver his body. He gonna get that rebound. Obviously lefties are already tough to guard, right? So he presented that problem, right? Then he had a different level of motor, and he was a nigga too, right? And so that combination is always tough to deal with, right? But in that era, we had the Shees, we had the Dirks, we had the Tims, we had Kenyon Martin was a motor,
right.
Elton Brand, right? We had McDice, we had, it was just a lot. I think from a perspective of like, because I played in multiple eras, so I remember like playing against Akeem, and it was like Houston Akeem, Elijah. Crazy. He was the most unguardable player that you could go up against. But I thought when Dirk lost and came back, he was a different animal. See, Dirk at 7 foot, he stops and he can raise up on either leg.
Right.
Nigga, you still going. And he already up here.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was a tough cover from that perspective. Obviously, Mr. Fundamental and Tim Duncan was a tough cover because he can hit you in so many ways. But I honestly say, man, like always, people ask that question all the time. I said, bruh, in my era, especially the power forward position, every night.
I tell them all the time,
It
bro.
was cracking, bro.
Every night.
And like and it's the time when you at home and you know the game coming up. And they're playing like maybe the night before or something. They may play on the back to back. You in there looking.
Yeah,
Where's he got? What he up? Like, what he doing? Right,
Looking like a motherfucker.
Right. I would definitely say, man, like all the power forwards was tough covers, bro.
Especially that Wild Wild West. You went to Indiana. Just imagine you went to a West Coast team.
Yeah.
Every night in the Wild Wild West.
I'm tripping. Sewell.
Yeah.
Sewell was problematic, bro.
Well, another thing to throw out there, bro, I feel like, you want best to ever do it. And I feel like, especially coming through that Indiana organization, I feel like your name's supposed to be hanging up in that rafters. And,
Ooh,
it's
out
well
the
deserved.
mud, y'all
out
here
the mud.
first.
It's well deserved.
Put that J.O. in the
I think when it need to happen and when it do happen, I need to be there. I mean, out the mud, we gonna be there because, man, that's very well deserved, and you deserve that, bro.
That's like pulling off a scab, boy.
Yeah.
Like it's
that's a sit down.
Hell yeah.
we got to holler about that.
Man, listen, bro. It's, I will say this though, to every fan that support the Pacers, I gave everything I can give. Right, trust that. Like the love and passion I have for that organization, that city, is unmatched for anything outside of my kids and my wife and my family. It's unmatched. And whatever you think happened or didn't happen, just know that my appreciation for that city, for our owners who gave me a different quality of life, right? You give somebody, $100+ million, you feel like it's responsibility that comes with that.
Hell yeah.
And so make no mistake, I never took that for granted, never. And that, again, I go back, that's why I left, because I no longer could be at the level that they expected me to be at. And so whether they ever, decide to retire number or not, I am at peace. I wasn't for a while, but I'm at peace now because time heals everything. That time tells everything. At some point, they gotta figure out how they value me as a player and what I did not only on the court but what I did off the court. Right, winning the championship is hard. Right, you can't. I hate to hear people say that. Like, oh, they didn't win a championship.
Shit,
does that minimize the player's career?
Come on, man. Shit,
no.
Hell nah.
You got to be lucky. You got to be healthy, and you got to be together, and you got to have a squad. So it's a lot of things that go into that. Like the team got to put together the right pieces, right? It's just so much has to happen. But I hate hearing when fans say, "Well, he didn't win a so fuck what."
You deserve it.
That doesn't mean that he didn't show up to the game every day in preparation to try to win it. And I felt like we did do that.
And we appreciate it, man. It was a pleasure, man, coming on with us, man. One of the guys that I always looked up to wearing a headband after, and, even seeing my game at the show, man, just a pleasure, man. You coming on out the mud, ain't nothing but love for me, for my comrade. You already know, man. Appreciate you,
man.
brother.
I appreciate y'all, man. Like I told y'all when I walked in, man, like, we need more brothers like y'all. It's a different side of this business that needs to be talked about. People get on TV and they talked about the cute stuff, right? Y'all got to it, right? The impact that y'all had in our league, man, is immense, bro.
Yeah.
That's why when I saw that y'all got your jersey retired, man, that is dope, because they respect the work that y'all put in, right? Now y'all put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
People came. Yeah. How do you take you make a basketball organization a reflection of the city? It's crazy. Like that doesn't happen a lot, bro.
Real
Big
shit.
influence.
You know what I'm saying? There's an influence on it, right? And how they got behind y'all, man. It's just dope, man. I appreciate you guys getting me on, man. Like, one thing I'm gonna do now that my son is out, I'm about to start moving and shaking now.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things for me was making sure I finished the job with my son in school. Now he in college. Now he gotta get to it.
Yeah.
But love to come back on.
Yeah, for sure.
Get another chance. Bring you on something that I'm doing. I'm about to do something too.
Man,
so
call away, and I'm calling you. Coming, nephew, I'm coming to check you out, nephew. Now I'm coming to some of your games now. See you turn up for sure.
Man, shout out to you and your daughter too, man.
Yeah.
She get busy
doing
too, bro.
Thing, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and your daughter too. She playing in the professional league too.
Yeah,
she was a national champion in at Texas. They won.
Yeah, and they won the first ever world
league,
championship.
Right?
Yeah. So, but these kids, man, like they're the reflection of us, bro. Right?
Yeah.
Success of those kids is what we put into them, bro. Make no mistake. So, should pat yourself on the back, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Pat yourself on the back, bro.
Yeah, man.
Stay on their ass,
That's
too.
right. You gonna stay on your ass now.
Yeah.
So out the mud.
Out the mud, man.